What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful.
What's going on, everybody? It's Adam from 49ers Insiders.
And we thank you for joining us today. It is the final show before we finally get some football to talk about. Hallelujah. Can I get an amen from the Empire, please? Oh man, I feel so good, y'all. I mean, this is a show that I've really been waiting for since, December? I mean, So we're gonna go ahead and obviously I didn't put it in the show notes because I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all because y'all my fam. So I totally forgot. The Robbie Gould contract seems like days ago, and we already talked about it a little bit on the fan interaction. But we're gonna go ahead and get into that and kind of wrap it up and transition into training camp. So before we get started today, I thought the Twitter poll and Facebook poll this week gave us pretty interesting results. We got our first ever 50-50 split on Facebook. So I put it out there. We kind of had our last week, for those who watched the show, Adam and I kind of put who do you think gets more snaps, Solly or Eric Armstead? Me and Adam both put gun to our head, our famous saying Adam's famous saying on the show, gun to our head. We both picked Solly. Facebook was actually 50-50 and Twitter was it was 48-52. Yeah, 48-52 on Twitter. So that's 42-58 on Twitter. So that's pretty close to damn near 50-50 split.
Sure.
That and you know what? Even if they end up tied or within, let's say, 5 of each other, 5 to 10 snaps of each other, that would not surprise me.
Would not surprise me either.
So real quick to get into the Robbie Gould contract. Basically, Adam and I we're discussing that. That's why we're a little late because we want to make sure we're on the same page as this. It's pretty much it's full 2-year, fully guaranteed. But basically, I think Adam and I in our pre-show meeting basically said that we pretty much think it's a 1-year deal, and they're going to go ahead and guarantee the 2020 or whatever. The Bears feel comfortable because it's a flexible contract, and we're going to get a draft pick inside. So I think we're going to basically to sum up my point. I'll let Adam speak. I think we're going to have a Trent Brown situation where we pick up Michael Glenshie. So next year I think we're going to pick up a kicker, and everybody's going to be like, "What the hell? We signed Robbie Gould to a 4-year contract," and then mysteriously you're going to see that Robbie Gould's traded to the Chicago Bears for 5th round pick, 4th round 2021 pick.
I mean, who knows? At the end of the day, like I said, as we all know by now, hopefully everyone's on the same page. The last 2 years are an option. You have until week 16 of 2020 to decide if you wouldn't go ahead and pick up pretty much partial $2.25 million of his 2021 contract. And the reason why I think that's important, all I want to just to stress is pretty much that it's a very flexible contract. For example, let's just say he starts going kind of downhill in 2021, that you're not completely on the hook for 2022. I'm not saying the reason why I asked the question is Robbie Gould a lock to be with the 49ers next season is just for the simple standpoint of once again, today he was out throwing a pitch at Wrigley Field for the Cubs game. So it still, once again, seems like his heart is in Chicago. We all saw in the offseason, but I think it's a possibly win-win type of deal where, once again, very flexible type of contract. And it's the one you can possibly be able to trade in terms of Robbie Gould can still get his money. The 49ers know they have him on lockdown now, not just for, hey, we're going to slap the franchise tag on you. You can't do shit. It's more so now we have the contract, we have him under contract to the point that he's still going to be able to get his money and be locked into that type of contract, even if we end up trading him. And so people were always saying, you can't trade him when he's on a franchise tag. I mean, I think it was also about, once again, he wanted that long-term financial security. So you don't have as much leverage, obviously, when somebody's under the franchise tag. But what it comes down to now, when you have somebody locked up for longer years, it's a lot friendlier. You just have more leverage, obviously, just to be able to get something in return compared to somebody's on a contract year. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up once again. I'm not saying he's going to be traded next offseason. Once again, you do have him under lockdown 100% for the next 2 years, but I would just not be surprised, and I'm just throwing that out there, if the 49ers can possibly find a long-term investment at the kicker position next offseason. And once again, his heart is still dead set on being with the Bears, for example. I would not be surprised if he is traded next offseason. And yeah, so some of the actual free agent options that we're talking about, if it's not possibly the draft, we were talking about a couple options. Couple big names are Greg Zuerlein from the Rams. You take away from them, he's super young, has a huge leg. Kicked the Rams actually in the Super Bowl. I believe he made a 57 or a 58-yarder in overtime in the championship game last season to get the Rams in the Super Bowl, and actually made a tying field goal to send it to overtime to begin with. And then Stephen Hauschka, who was a former division rival with the Seahawks. He's playing for the Bills now, but he's a free agent next offseason as well. Also young too, so he could be a long-term investment. So I'm just saying this could possibly be a win-win type of deal where the 49ers have him under lockdown for this season, which is really all that mattered to everybody, right? We wanted him under contract at least and playing for us this season. So I think it's possibly a win-win deal where essentially he gets his money. We know for sure he'll be kicking in for us this year, and we have him under contract. And possibly the 49ers can say, hey, Robbie, we promise you we'll look for a replacement for you next season. We'll just take things from there.
Well, pretty much, everybody's saying that he ain't going anywhere. Well, Chris and our boy Nick from Nothing But Niners, make sure to go ahead and check out Nothing But Niners too, as well as Niner Faithful Radio. Your boy waits for them. So, but we'll get into that at the end of the show. But so I mean, I think if I'm not surprised, and I think if they have somebody that they feel that they target and they feel that this is better or significantly better, younger, let's say Robbie has an off season. Of course, we all don't think that, we don't think that. I mean, let's be realistic. For these 2 seasons, what Robbie Gould has done in the red and gold is up there with kickers and all kickers in team history. I mean, he hasn't had the longevity as some of them, like a Joe Nendy, or even even as long as of David Akers. But what he's, or Mike Crow for us, the '80s Niner fans, but the consistency and the accuracy and the ability to make field goals, over the last 2 years is up there in team history. So, we all assume that, past results are a dictation of future events. So, we all assume that he's going to have a good year, but, let's say he does, or he's going to be what? I think it was 40 by the end of this contract, 41 by the second year. I believe it was 39, 40.
I'll look it up right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, Father Time is my age-old saying on the show. Father Time is undefeated. So, now kickers, as Adam pointed out on the fan interaction show, the kickers do have a longer shelf life than other players, but I think what's going to happen is I think we'll pick up his 21 salary, but I think we're going to pick up for lack of a better word, the option.
If he's on the team next season, because
if he's on the team,
if the contract gets traded, then that team gets to decide. That's why I'm saying it's a very flexible contract. By the way, Robbie Gould turns 37 December 6th. So
37, 38. So at the end of the next season, he'll be 38, going into 39 at the entering the 2021 season.
Yeah, so he'll be 40 in his last season, right?
And so okay, so the contract would end at 40, but so exactly. But I think that it's going to be 2021. I would think that's probably the more likely. It's not going to surprise me. And, it wouldn't, but I would say at least 2 years. I would say 2 years, even the 3, even the 4 years. I would think 4 would kind of be stretching it, just because I would think at that point in time, he'd probably want to wrap up his career and go ahead and finish it in Chicago. Also a championship, if, I think that even we were talking about, I was saying this with a fellow faithful I was having a discussion with on the streets, and I was saying that I think Joe Staley's on until I win a championship contract. So, we of course talked to him that we have him locked up for this season and 2 more additional seasons after this season. Well, let's say we win a championship this season or next season. I don't see okay, 42. Nick has corrected us. 42 by the end of the contract. All right, thanks, brother. So Robbie Gould will be 42 by the end of the contract. I don't see us keeping around a 42-year-old kicker. But we that's just the way things go. Kickers, people don't want a 42-year-old kicker. But so Hauschka, I mean, I would like it. Zerline, to me, anytime that you can get a sufficient replacement and hurt a division rival at the same time, and I think that although we may differ from a lot of other shows, because we both kind of think we're question marks about the Yams this year. We just don't see them marching into the NFC Championship game this year. Will they be a playoff team? Probably, division wild card type of team. But, I don't see them. I wouldn't put my money on them making the NFC Championship game. So, beyond us, even if we have a garbage year and everything like that, but shout out to my girl. Our anniversaries, our 9-month anniversary will be NFC Championship Sunday. So hopefully we're getting tickets for our anniversary at Levi's. But anyway, so I don't anticipate it being a big deal. I think he'll be traded after the draft, 2021. We'll get our replacement kicker, at least who we think we are. Wisnowski, maybe. There's been rumors that he can kick in a pinch. Maybe giving him a couple of years to develop, and giving it a try. I mean, I don't really want to try with field goal kickers, but, I kind of like automatic, I mean, except for Jose Cortez, I can't really, and Wide Richie. I mean, except for those two, I can't really. We've been blessed with pretty consistent kickers here in the red and gold. Over the last, I would say, man, probably my lifetime. I'm probably forgetting some in the '90s that may have been iffy or whatever, but back then it didn't really matter when you had Steve or Joe. We weren't kicking a lot of field goals.
Yeah.
So and let's be real. I think that Shanahan, Lynchahan, and us faithful and everybody involved predict that we're not going to be kicking a lot of field goals this year. Anyway, and real quick, I wanted to get in your tweet. I'll let you elaborate on it. But the thing about Kyle Shanahan in the red zone, I mean, I think that's kind of it. The stats are out there, but you had an interesting twist on it.
What specific part? Sorry, I've been tweeting like a madman.
Yeah. Well, so it was. I think it's getting back to my point what I've been saying about Jordan Matthews and what I replied to you on that one tweet when I basically said you can't ignore 16 out of 22 touchdowns being in the red zone.
Oh yeah,
when you've been one of the worst red zone offenses in the league. Now I think that it is. I think this is the big reason why we're all looking so forward to the 26th and of course the next several months after. Is I think this is what we're going to see. I think we're going to see the fruition because big shout out to the homie Coffee Break. He puts out a kind of podcast type of video montage thing, and he was talking about Lynch, and he didn't call it the hot seat. He said he put hot seat in the title, but he said I think he's more on the warm seat. I think he's more just hey, let's see, because so to
hot
me.
Seat of what? I mean, let's be a little specific about a hot seat of what?
Okay, so I think warm seat. I think that there'll be a lot more rumblings. I think Lynchahan, or I won't even put Kyle Shanahan on this because I think Kyle Shanahan will be the last person fired in this regime. Let's not get that twisted. There'll be a lot more heads to roll before Shanahan's fired. Yeah. So with Lynch, it's kind of, let's be realistic, it was, I don't want to say a stretch, but it was out of the box, bringing him in and, hey, does he know football? Is he a nice guy? Is he good? Is he a good teammate? Things of that nature. Is he easy to work with? After the bulky situation and all that. I could see John Lynch wanted a totally different type of personality. Reason why that he went from Harbaugh to Tom Sula. You couldn't get two different type of personalities. So, but to me, it's kind of like, okay, well, you got your opportunity. This is your roster. This is essentially Lynch and Hand's roster, because anybody that was left over from a previous regime, they could have gotten rid of. Let's not act like they've been shy about. Let's not act like they've been shy about getting rid of players from previous regimes. So, this is your roster. So, I want more answers questioned than questions at the end of the year. Do we have our long-term quarterback? Obviously, we both think that we do and believe that we do, but I would like that cemented at the end of the season where there's no doubts.
Right.
And the haters can shut up. It is Solomon Thomas. Nick Bosa. Now, I don't think that he'll be fired over Nick Bosa after year one. But Nick Bosa, we all know about Mike McGlinchey, but Akilo. These players that were CJ Beathard. These players that were high picks. And I think that the way I've always kind of looked at it like this is.
But we all know they go hand in hand, though, CJ. I mean, I was going to call you CJ. Sorry, TJ. But the decisions were all made hand in hand, pretty much at the end of the day. So that's why I literally practically think it's like, I understand you're bringing up a great point. Like, hey, I think if you're going to say Lynch Hand is on the warm seat, then technically speaking, though, we know there's pretty much, and that's where I was going to get to. Everything has been done hand in hand. So if you're going to say Lynch Hand Lynch is on the warm seat, then you're better off saying, then we're better off, in my opinion, saying Lynch Hand. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan included as well is on the warm seat. But in my opinion, that's all going to be a moot point. I did. If I have to put money on it, literally speaking, I think there's practically a 0% chance of both of them getting fired. I don't think that's happening whatsoever, because obviously I think we'll have at least bare minimum a solid 500 and up season. That's like floor, in my own personal opinion. But yeah, I mean, once again, we already know about the circumstances that they faced their first 2 years. I mean, honestly speaking, this is like true year that you can finally be able to judge them. And depending on what happens, like I said, I don't even want to get into injuries and all that stuff for this year. Throw all that shit out, fish it out. But like I said, if I put money on it right now, they're not going anywhere. And I'm pretty confident about that bet. And I don't even care about odds, to be honest with you. Like, if I'm putting money on it, they're not going anywhere after this season. Now, let's just say they fail to make the playoffs this season and they don't make it the following season. Then I can see some shit going down. I still think you probably hold on to Kyle Shanahan, but maybe then let's just pre-assume, and obviously hopefully it doesn't happen, where the 49ers don't make the playoffs this upcoming season. Then going into the following season, if they still don't get it done, then I'm sure Kyle Shanahan is like, hey, like I said, if I was Jed York, keep Shanahan. Maybe maybe John Lynch wasn't the guy that you kind of needed to be your right-hand man as far as making the decisions. But once again, we know that Martin Mayhew was involved. Adam Peters is involved. Like I said, I think at the end of the day, it's a moot point, in my own personal opinion. And I think
it's off-season banter. It's off-season banter and everything. And this is why I'm so juiced. And I hope y'all saw that I'm really juiced is because we get to find out. I mean, we've done enough talking. I think that we never get worn out of doing this because, we're talking Niner football, bro. I mean, come on, that's the shit. But, I'm tired of talking too. I've always kind of been raised of, you let your shoulder pads do the talking. That's why I've always loved football, and I've never really gotten the back and forth a lot because, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, it's all going to be proven on the field. We all go in the pregame banter, and trust me, you find me out, you'll see me August 10th at the parking lot, before the gates even open, talking shit to the Cry Girl fans. Trust and believe, all of us at the row will be out there. They'll have their flags. We'll have ours, and back and forth like it was last year. It's a blast. But at the end of the day, it'll all be settled on the field, so I ain't tripping. Right. So, I'm ready to get this cracking. I do believe. See, I believe that we can make the playoffs. I'm not saying that Would I be disappointed? Yeah, but that's just because I'm disappointed every year we don't make the playoffs.
Right.
But I don't think that if we miss the playoffs, I don't think that automatically makes it a disappointing year. I think that you have to hit markers. Well, were we in the hunt? What was the reason? What was the reason that we didn't make it towards the end? Did we fold that? Were we a young team who wasn't ready for that type of spotlight? And if that's why you could ultimately say we didn't make the playoffs, let's say we lose the last game or last 2 games of the year, which I hope we don't because against the Yams and the Seahawks. But let's just say that's what happens. Is we're not quite ready for primetime football yet. I'm not mad because what's the best way to get past that? To experience that. So now that we've experienced, okay, fine. You can't. So I'm more looking at how we look. Do we look competitive? Are we in the hunt? Is there more reasons to believe like, hey, we could do some things next year than more like, oh God, what are we gonna do? And scratching our heads. Right. Are we gonna come on the show week after week like, Lord, man, or are we gonna come up pumped up, fired, and ready to go? I think that we're gonna come up pumped up, fired, and ready to go.
I think so too. Like I said, I definitely expect us, like, if you look at everything that's taking place, once again, the circumstance that we faced the first couple of years and all that, and everything that's kind of shaping up to be, once again, offensive line improving, defensive line improving, more weapons, everything from pretty much top to bottom, getting back all these reinforcements from last season and all that. Once again, lost 10 out of the 12 games last season by an average of 8 points, which is the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. And then losing 4 games by an average of 1 field goal. So like I said, I mean, we finished 4-12, but it's, like some things go a little different way. Once again, being tied for second, with 32 offensive turnovers last season. We don't know the turnover margin, absolutely trash. Where I'm getting at, here's a scenario that I can kind of bring up that wouldn't be disappointing. We've seen teams go 10-6 and still miss the playoffs.
Exactly.
It doesn't happen. That'll be a heartbreaker. But it would also give me a feel good moment of like, all right, 10-6 and missed the playoffs. That'd be shitty, but then we're that much more fired up for the following season.
That's what I'm saying. But that you just described the scenario I'm talking about. Is if we sit here, week 17 after week 17, we'll be giving away some announcements closer towards the beginning of the season. Matter of fact, we'll probably make the announcements our last preseason show before the preseason, or before the first preseason game. We'll make the announcements. But if we sit here doing, our last episode of Niner Faithful Radio for the season at 10-6, or even let's say 11-5, I highly doubt we'll miss the playoffs at 11-5 because it's real hard to do.
I'd rather go 9-7 or 11-5 instead of going 10-6 and not making the playoffs. I'd rather either you make it or you just barely don't make it. But I'm saying that shit right now.
Would you be mad at 10-6? I wouldn't.
That's when I say, like, I'd rather go 9-7 or like, hey, 9-7, you don't make the playoffs, you go 11-5, you do get in. Like I said, it would be a little tough pill to swallow if you do go 10-6, but you don't get the playoffs. But
like I said, I'll be disappointed because it'll probably come down to a couple plays.
Right.
It'll come down to probably a couple plays where it's like, damn, if we didn't, that offside penalty or what if, of course, we'll be disappointed. But,
football, right? That just happens. Hopefully we come up out of the end where the other team blows it a couple different plays or ball bounced our way a couple plays.
And so I think that's, not to obviously get in so much of the past and everything like that, but we've saw how unlucky bounces things have, like a historical low amount of turnovers. And so I think that what you'll see with the Yams this year, by the way, Nick says he thinks they'll finish third in the division. Nick, who do you got finishing second? The Seahawks? Just out of curiosity, I would assume that would be
third in the division.
Nick said he's got the Yams finishing third in the division this year. I'm assuming us first. And so I'm assuming that 6 years. We officially have the most viewers that we've had at one time on Niner Faithful Radio. Right now, super duper moderator Kim just shot me the numbers right now. So awesome. Welcome, everybody. I'm just kind of curious on what Nick thinks, who would finish first and second. But so to me, I agree with you. I mean, 9-7, 11-5, whatever. But I think that what you're going to see with the Yams is the regression to the mean. You're not just going to put up historical yards, points, totals every year in the NFL. Obviously, scoring's up league wide, but you're not just going to put up record numbers every year, as an offense. And, so the we'll just call it the good luck that the Yams have had and the bad luck. Good luck that the Yams have had and the bad luck that we've had are going to kind of more regress to the mean, and I think that's what's going to balance it out.
Once again, Todd Gurley might not be the same. I mean, to Darrell Henderson, running back they drafted in the 3rd round, who's, he's like top 5 and right now in prop bets for Offensive Rookie of the Year, the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year, he's like top 5 in a lot of them, like more than likely every single one, because they know he's going to be an opportunity to be able to get the ball and be productive. I don't think Todd Gurley's ever going to be the same, which obviously I'm not saying he's going to be like an average running back. He's still pretty damn good, or will be pretty damn good.
I would say to
be that Todd Gurley great that they relied on to get him to the point. If any, like, obviously, my brother's a Rams fan, so I told him straight up. I mean, pretty much they used them so much to the point to get themselves in the position where they were in. Obviously, they never even should have been in the damn Super Bowl if that they would have just called the damn flag in the Saints game. That's a different story. But I think things, once again, the gap and has definitely closed. I think we'll be pretty head-to-head. I'm not going to sit here and say that like we're going to blow them out of the water or anything like that. Let's not get it twisted. The Rams are still
yeah.
10 Super Bowl favorite. I think they were, last time I checked, they're like maybe top 6, 7, maybe even top 5 in some websites or whatever. But I mean, we saw even in the first year, if it wasn't for the Trent Taylor push-off offensive PI. And then it's unfortunate the last couple of years we've kind of played them late in the season, like obviously Jimmy G on one of the games in the 2017 season. They didn't play all their starters or whatever. But I definitely think we can take the division. And what excites me about even let's just say we don't win a division and hopefully we can get in as a wild card team. What kind of excites me is I'll never forget the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers, who got in as wild card teams and won the Super Bowl. And to give credit where it's due, I love me some Kurt Warner. You can hate me for it, but the Cardinals were 9-7, went to the Super Bowl, and if it wasn't for a damn Santonio Holmes tippy-toe touchdown, they win the Super Bowl. So I never want to hear, especially when you have
we've seen it with the Giants
offense. I think I'd feel pretty good about getting the wild card and just having a shot. And if everything breaks our way, you never know. That's why I'm the wild card.
Nick will remember this when we did a little when he came out to every before every home game, the 408 we have a walk, like a get together every Saturday before the game, and so we'll have a little get together, and other Niner Empire chapters will come out, and it's a chance to meet fellow Niner fans and hang out and grab drinks and kick it. So Nick came out for the home opener last year, so we kind of did a nothing but Niners kind of video, just kick it video and everything like that. And I went on that video. Division winner will come out the last year of the game. Yes. So I said on that video that this year would be when I thought we would go for a Super Bowl. And so my mantra this year is get in and you never know. If we're playing our best football, i.e. 2017 and i.e. last year too. Now it might not have been championship football, but we were playing the best that we were playing last year in December.
Being so damn depleted, we were playing solid football 100%.
We were. So you could definitely say that, and that's to me why I favor Kyle Shanahan, and one of the reasons I am positive on the up, upward trend on him as a coach is that his teams have shown up and played on December. You can't deny that. It's 2 years in a row. Yeah, we didn't go 5-0 like we did the year before, but we also didn't have Jimmy.
With the lack of personnel.
Exactly.
that's why I think at the end of the day, and you're 100% right as far as upswing type of deal, but the team at this point too, I'm once again praying to God, if we don't win the division, we at least can get in the playoffs. We're still a young and ascending team, and that's still gonna, obviously you're not gonna be, I mean, I hope we're firing on all cylinders come week 1, and I wouldn't be surprised once again if we just ended up blowing out the Bucks. Straight up. And obviously they can keep it close, and who knows, they can upset. Technically, they're not an upset. I've been checking a couple websites lately, and I think they're a 1-point favorite, but that's because they're at home, and obviously they don't know exactly the whole deal with the 49ers. But what I'm getting at is it would not surprise me if we end up blowing them out. But when you have a team that's young and has the type of talent that we have, I can definitely see us be ascending team in December, getting that wild card playoff spot, and then you're really like firing on tippy-toe top cylinders, and like I said, some magic can happen.
Yeah, exactly. So Nick said he's got the division coming down to the last game of the year, Niners Seahawks in Seattle, that basically winner takes the division. I'm so down for that. Oh, I would be, you know how pumped up I would be for to give away a little bit of hint to our pregame show. Anyway, so for future plans that we have for the show, but I'll be so pumped up.
Even if you lose, it sounds like you're still a wild card team.
Yo, that's fine.
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. I'm just saying.
Yeah, hey, wild card division winner. I mean, to me, I guess obviously you would want to win the division, but to me, besides travel as a fan, obviously players, less travel, things of that nature. But to me, the only difference is I get a guaranteed shot to go try to get some playoff tickets to the Levi's. And be there for the first playoff game in history of Levi's. That's really only, as far as home and road are concerned, that's really the only difference, that I'm concerned. I'm not traveling, I'm not on the airplane, and I got faith in my team, anywhere. I watched obviously I wasn't alive, I was alive, but I was a little baby, but I remember reading into that 88 NFC Championship game in Chicago. And how, we were supposed to just free and just little things, but there's been enough moments in Niner history that, I think that, you can have faith to believe that anything's possible.
Right.
I remember Alex Smith taking us into Green Bay and winning. Ooh, and I didn't think, that was, anyway. Chills. Anyway, so.
Shout out while we're at it, Alex Smith. Hopefully he's doing well in his recovery. He got the brace taken off and whatnot. Alex is not retiring, in my opinion. He might be out this year, but if we know Alex is the fighter that he is, it literally will be like you literally physically can't play. And so far so good. I think being the fighter that he is, I think he'll eventually come back.
I do too. Alex Smith
might not be with the Redskins. Maybe it's taking over.
But
a little bit, but he will not quit.
I will say that obviously, we won't ultimately get what Alex, as far as Niner history, I don't think you'll find many people that say he was a bust, but obviously he never reached the expectations that we did, winning a championship, whatever. But I think to me, I'll close. And when I think about Alex Smith's career, I'll close my.
You don't think that was?
I'll look at his resume. And I'll say that, what, that the catch three, Vernon Post, whatever you want to call it, that especially what he'd been through, calling out by your coach. I mean, we all know the history of what Alex Smith went through. I can't really, besides the championship, I can't think of a better way to go out. You made a play that will live in Candlestick Park history forever. And to me, that will be my, 20 years from now, my grandkids sitting on my lap, telling stories about, the who's got it better than us era. That will be what. But honestly, I think that Alex's I'll close my eyes and I'll say incomplete, because let's not forget that we were 9-2 when Cap took over.
Yeah.
So I have people that. I have friends of mine that will never, ever, ever not believe that Alex Smith would have won us that Super Bowl. Like, honestly, like, I have friends that will fight me, and to this day will still believe that if Alex Smith started that game, that we would have won that Super Bowl.
I'm not
They'll
buying
fight
that.
you over it.
That sounds like a reach. I mean, once again, I
do
posted
too.
videos of Kaepernick recently, and you go back and watch that shit. You're like,
Yeah.
what happened? You're like literally like obviously we know he's not the touch kind of guy, but passes in stride and all that shit, relatively
Look at
accurate. Like he was like low key slinging it. Once again, a lot of the success was off the read option and and so forth, but that was just honestly that you
go
can't
back to the
Kaepernick at all. I think that's just a reaching way of saying since we lost, Alex Smith would have won us that shit.
yeah. Well, also I think
an Alex Smith team coming back from behind, that's always been his kind of knock. And no disrespect to him, was part of that in the offense because obviously he ended up doing better with Andy Reid. But we all know what Andy Reid's a G. And look at Patrick Mahomes winning effing MVP his first year freaking starting, which is insanity. I definitely didn't think obviously he's going to have that type of season. But anyway, shout out Andy Reid.
And there's a lot. And let's be real. There's a lot of people that think.
I mean, type of guy. I'm sorry, Andy Reid. Alex Smith is like the guy that you want to have playing with the lead, and he's comfortable and confident and all that. Playing from behind. I mean, once again, he did it against the Saints. Let's just fast forward though.
Well, even if we go back to shout out to our boy Ian Williams, the game that he talked about when we asked him, what do you think the turning point of the 2011 season was to come back in Philadelphia.
Yep.
Ian Williams said that was a turning point, that they felt that they could go in anywhere and win any game. And he was on that team. So, that he called that, the turning point of the season is that they felt that, and, it was Alex that led the comeback. I remember Crabtree's first game.
Against the Texans? You talking about that game?
Against the Texans. It was against the Texans, and we were down 21 in the going into the second half, and Alex brought us back, and I believe we only lost by a touchdown. I want to say
it was good to see that. I remember at the time I was like, "Oh my god, this is what we're waiting for."
I was like, Alex Smith.
It was more so Crabtree about me. Yeah, it was good to see Alex Smith a little bit. I'm just saying.
But go back to Cap.
Love the guy, but really,
just to go back,
resume top to bottom, he's not a guy that's flourished coming back from behind. Is that the better?
So
I'm not sure.
To touch on the Cap, and we'll wrap up on Cap. Look at those touchdown passes to Crabtree in his first ever playoff game, and tell me Cap can't sling the rock. Look at some of those touchdown passes to Crabtree, and tell me Cap can't sling the rock.
Came out saying this guy can be the freaking best quarterback ever. Like I said, I went back and watched the other day, and I was almost dumbfounded. Like you almost forget until you go back and rewatch it. I mean, it is what it is, and he low key, high key, medium key. I think he regressed because, in my opinion, didn't thoroughly have that I don't even want to use that word. He didn't have that relentless, like doing. Did he use, once again, we talked about this before. Did he do everything in his willpower, like being the hungriest dog ever, like to go ahead and work on his fundamentals and scheme and all that kind of stuff and try his absolute best to keep getting better as a quarterback?
Yeah, okay. I won't question his dedication as far as keeping himself in shape and things of that nature. But do you feel that to the art of quarterbacking, not the art of being an athlete, but the art of quarterbacking, studying defenses, studying film, footwork, technique? No, I will admit, and y'all know me, I'm a huge Cap supporter, both on and off the field. You feel me? But so I won't believe that Colin Kaepernick did every single thing. I'll wrap it up on this, and then we'll probably get close to here, wrapping up the show pretty quick. I remember last year, I was sitting with my Empire Mama. Hi, Miss Debbie. I was sitting with her, and we're kind of watching, training camp, some practice, some up, and everything like that. And I'm looking over, and I'm seeing, Jimmy G. Cool working on his drop backs with the little, leg string thing and everything like that. And I looked at her and I said, I love the brother and everything like that. But I remember going to the training camp practice that they had at Kezar in 2016, Chip Kelly's year. And, I don't remember seeing any players. Matter of fact, I distinctly remember nobody stuck around because they didn't even sign autographs. And so, I didn't see Cap working on, and so I'm not knocking that. That's not a knock on Cap. That's not to say he's not a great quarterback.
And I want to backpedal a little bit too, but go ahead.
But yeah. But to sit there and say that I'm sitting with Miss Debbie watching Jimmy G Cool work on his dropbacks after practice, after signing autographs and whatnot.
Right.
And everything like that. And I didn't see Cap. Now that was one practice, fine. But that might tell you some reason on why, if you ask me who's the better quarterback, it's probably Jimmy G Cool.
And part of it is not calling.
Cap is a better athlete, though.
Oh, 1,000%. But that's why I wanted to backpedal a little bit. Once again, everybody knows I'm huge on circumstance, and let's be honest, let's take out the zone read out of it a little bit, which obviously was a huge epidemic, which led to Colin Kaepernick's success. But did the coaching staffs at the time really pretty much lock him down in a room like they used to do with Steve Young and shit like that? We all heard of the stories of Mike Shanahan, watching film relentlessly and tying his feet together and making him continuously do all these things. Part of it, I think it was on the coaching for not developing Colin Kaepernick. So let's keep that real. And let's also keep it real as well. And understanding circumstances. Yeah, that 2016 team, let's look at the talent on that team. And compare it to what he used to have and the situation he was in and having that dominant defense and all that. That has to be factored in as well. I'm not going to act like it was totally Colin Kaepernick regrets as a quarterback, done deal, end of story. You can't tell me anything else. No, I'm definitely not going to play that.
Yeah, no.
It was just
it was a total role.
So, yeah, it wasn't thoroughly on him. Like I said,
and we'll go ahead and wrap it up on this.
Offensive coordinator to then Chip Kelly and all this shit. And I thought that Chip would kind of suit him well, and he did some chill.
I did too. But that's basically the only reason I believed in Chip Kelly. I was like, Chip Kelly with Colin Kaepernick, thank you. That's really
Stone Reed City again.
And you know what? Let's be realistic. Cap clearly, wasn't ready at the start of the season. Right. After the surgeries and whatever, so we never really got the full fruition on what Chip Kelly could have been with Colin Kaepernick. And I think somewhat, and this will be a perfect segue into the end of the show, but I think what sums it up is when you hit the ground running like Colin Kaepernick did, it's hard to be told that, it's hard to think that you need to work. And I don't know the man, and I know he works hard, but, what adversity did he ever face? 2012, he takes us to the Super Bowl. Okay, fine, loss, whatever. 2013, it's the NFC Championship game. Okay, 2014, 2014, going into the season, there was no reason to believe the Niners wouldn't be back in the NFC Championship game. As we all know, Patrick Willis gets hurt, Justin Smith, Alden Smith goes, all that happened. 2015, we know. And then, you get to 2016. So to give Cap credit, it's hard to, tell somebody you need to work on things when what you're doing is working. Because clearly it was taking us to the NFC Championship game and whatnot. But before we get out of here today, I want to tell everybody this. I will be putting my motivation piece out on Sports Elite this week. I'm going to go ahead and dig down, and it's going to be really cool because I'm going to look into the beyond talent aspect of this season and why I feel so high on this. It basically is motivation. And I'm going to basically break down that it's beyond, we're talented and everything like that. It's about, what's inside of us and the beast within. Bill Walsh also used to talk about, by the time that they had gotten to 81, pretty much the whole team, they'd been beaten up for so long that every time they played somebody, it was in vendetta. Kind of like how a lot of our rosters experienced, that is that, we've gotten beat up by a lot of football. And so, every time we look at Tampa Bay, you don't think we're Quan Alexander. You don't think he's going to be motivated for that game, and you don't think that team's motivated. After the showing that we had in Tampa Bay last year.
Don't be surprised if we jump on up and it just ends up being a blowout.
Exactly. So that's but before we get out of here today,
I do respect Bruce Arians. Let's just get that straight. I think they're going to put up a good fight. They're at home. Bruce Arians is a good coach. We saw what he did with the Cardinals at one point.
But I think he'll find out real quick. I think he'll find out real quick that you don't have Larry Fitzgerald. in Tampa.
But he does have Mike Evans. I mean, they got a good
But
squad.
Larry Fitzgerald,
Mike
Larry,
Evans, right now, I mean, but I'm not going to compare Mike Evans. But I mean, Mike Evans is arguably a top.
Oh no! I'm awesome with Mike Evans. Don't think it's a knock on him.
Oh, yeah,
But,
I'm just saying, like, Larry Fitzgerald wasn't a spring chicken when he was with the Cardinals, but
true.
he's going to be able to take Jameis Winston and help him get to that other level that he kind of did with Carson Palmer.
Okay.
All the big success. I mean, obviously that's going to be the number one thing, and that's why he took the job, because Jameis they're both like Alabama. No, he's from Virginia, but he would coach under Bear Bryant at Alabama. Jameis is from Alabama, so they got kind of that connection.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'll put it to you this way: with the Bruce Arians offense, I let's be happy we're playing him week 1. Before they've really got and everything. And I'll just say it at that. Sometimes it's not who you play; it's when you play them.
100%.
So before we get out of here today, go ahead and shop Niner Faithful Radio. Shop for officially licensed gear from 49ershop.com, NFLshop.com, Fanatics.com, Target, eBay, Amazon, and more. Visit NinerFaithfulRadio.com/shop or like us on Facebook. And now announcing we're on Instagram at Niner Faithful Radio Shop and Twitter at Niner Faithful RS, because you couldn't put Niner Faithful Radio Shop.
There you go.
Twitter's retarded like that. Anyway, we're not doing that right now. Join our Patreon's reward program for as little as $1 a month. You can get special perks like 10% off at Niner Faithful Radio Shop, an invite to join Adam and I on a segment of Niner Faithful Radio, and much more. Go ahead and visit patreon.com/Niner Faithful Radio or NinerFaithfulRadio.com or YouTube channel, and we have a little Patreon button. And that'll take you right to where you can subscribe. Go to SeatGiant.com and use the promo code NinerFaithfulRadio, all one word, and save on all theater, concert, sporting event tickets, as well as help out that show. The website again is SeatGiant.com. Niner Faithful Radio is on YouTube. We're trying to monetize our channel, so to help with that, we decided to get one lucky subscriber not only a chance to go to a Niner game, but also a tailgate at Empire Row and a ticket to the Niner Museum to go be the day before the game. To be eligible to win, all you have to do is subscribe, and the winner will be announced on the first show after we reach 4,200 watch minutes and 1,200 subscribers. Want to ask Adam and I a question or didn't get to your comment? Go ahead and join us on our fan interaction show live on Castbox every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. Go ahead and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter to find out more information, or go to NinerFaithfulRadio.com. Participate in our weekly poll for prizes. Each week on Facebook and Twitter, we have a weekly poll question where all you have to do to win is vote, and we pick out a winner every week. We got cool swag. We got Niner hats, things of that nature. Pretty cool. Visit NinerFaithfulRadio.com to not only read our blogs from Nothing But Niners and Sports Elite, but to get all the show notes and advertising and sponsorship packages. We're actually going to go ahead and put it in the comments, Nick, if we know, but we're supposed to be coming out with our season preview. Each one of us writers at NothingButNiners.com went ahead and picked out a couple games to write about and everything. So we're going to have that out soon. If Nick knows, he'll go ahead and put it in the comments. If you're listening to us as a podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Blueberry, TuneIn, please subscribe and give us a review. It really helps out the show. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and go ahead and hit that bell to not miss a video. Also, give us a thumbs up and a comment on what you thought about the show and anything you can think we can do better. Now, with that said, please, this is the week that you want to subscribe, and you definitely want to hit that bell button. I'm going to be going to every open training camp practice except the first one. So starting Sunday, I believe it's the 31st and the 5th are the only days off they have in that time period. So I'm going to be doing practice reviews and everything like that. Might be able to pull out a player, who knows, because, they give autograph sessions. Might be able to get a player on YouTube or on video real quick, who knows. but your boy's definitely going to try. I'm definitely going to try to find out what Coach K's name is. I promise that.
How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, how you pronounce it.
Oh my God, I just watched the video earlier. Kosurik, I believe it's how it's pronounced. Kosurik?
Kosurik. Yeah, Kosurik. I believe that's what it is, but I just want to definitely have him say it.
It could, the original name, I thought it could be Kochurik, because in the certain countries like in Europe, the C is like a ch. But sometimes you got Americanized.
Just like with the Sharks. Shout out to all Sharks territory. Hey, I got the Niner tap. Y'all see the Sharks tap. Anyway, so everybody always tries to say Thomas Hurdle, and it's not Thomas, it's Tomash. That's how you say his name. It's Tomash Hurdle. So everybody always says Thomas, but it's not Tom. They call it the Anglo-Saxon way of saying it, I believe, but it's not Tomas. It's Tomash. So in European countries, they do sometimes pronounce things like that.
Right.
But I'm the type of person that generally, once I hear somebody say their name, I can pick it up that way. But if you ask me to read it or anything like that, no. Like Peter Tama, see, I can't even do it. I used to be able to do it, but Peter T. It wasn't until I actually heard him say his name. Tamo Pinino.
Pinu, I believe that's how it's spelled. Tao Moy Pinu. By the way, he's on the Cardinals now. Imagine that fool. Yeah. I'm not gonna call him a fool, but shit, I'll be pretty damn bitter if he ends up lighting it up for the Cardinals.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real
I'm
mad.
still surprised. I mean, obviously, it seems like the plan is using Eric Armstead or Solomon Thomas. I prefer, to be honest with you, Solomon Thomas, if you absolutely have to. But it seems like they're the number 4 edge options after Ron Blair being the number 3. But I was kind of surprised by that. I thought that was a real promising sign that we gave Marsh and Dakota Watson the boot. I thought it was like, all right, Peter T's locked in the number 4 speed rusher type.
I did too. I thought, I'd be interested to find out.
Maybe they're going to wait for cuts and trade one of the defensive linemen, because obviously we got a lot of big boys. Perhaps that's for a different day.
Yep. Let's just be real that they're all answers will be answered pretty much, within the next month.
Right.
We're going to learn a lot more in the next month. All right. Anything else you want to say, Adam?
Yeah. By the way, I just didn't want to kind of disrupt the show, but Robbie Gould will be 39 at the start of the last year of his contract, and will be turning 40 in December. He's 36 right now, so 37, 38, 39, and then he'll be turning 40 in December. Okay. No disrespect, Nick. Just had to get things clear. And if we do trade him, I forgot to mention this point. This next offseason, then you save $10.6 million in free cap space. That's factoring in dead money. And let's just say he is a 49er in 2020, and you trade in 2021 offseason, then it looks like you will save about $7 million flat in savings. So just want to get that clear.
All right. Well, then go ahead and follow Adam at 49ers Insiders on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at NinerFaithfulR. Instagram at Niner Faithful Radio, and at Facebook at Niner Faithful Radio. For super duper moderator Kim, for Adam and myself, we'd like to thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Niner Faithful Radio. We shall see y'all same bat time, same bat channel next Sunday, live from training camp. Till then, faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners, baby! Go Niners. 2019, we're gonna do it big.
Go Niners.